Just sit there and think for a moment and contemplate. What could have been? Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now this topic is something I've had in my mind for quite a long time now. This item is one of the Z Warriors' most valuable possessions, and if they were not to have it, things would be very dire. I'm talking about the SENZU Bean! This item has been used over 20 times from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Super, and only 3 of those times were in the original Dragon Ball series. The beans were used to get our heroes out of a jam if they were drained or dying or in need of a quick fix to get back into the fight. That's all very well and good, but what if they never existed? Sure, we have warriors that could, or they eventually could, destroy the entire universe under certain circumstances, but if those tiny little pods of energy never came into fruition, things would be a lot different. But what are SENZU beans? Sure, you may be familiar with their restorative properties, as in you eat one and you're back to full health and you can go back into the battle. But their original intention was to be used as a means of sustenance. One bean can keep a human satiated for up to a week and a half. Less for a Saiyan. It can probably keep a Goku full for about, I don't know, 10 minutes? According to Volume 5 of Dragon Ball Culture by Derek Padula, the term SENZU bean translates to hermit bean, with the zu syllable in SENZU potentially denoting 20 in one mouth if you break down its original kanji into its component parts. It makes sense, as the beans are like eating multiple foodstuffs in one sitting. One bean can keep you good, and the hermit part makes even more sense because if you grow these beans, you could just eat those and never have to interact with anybody ever again. It's perfect for a hermit-like lifestyle. But having said that though, you would be living to eat rather than eating to live. There'd be no joy in eating the beans. You'd be just eating them just to exist. How boring would that be? Can you imagine Goku living like that? I don't think so. Hell, I don't think I could live like that. I love my red Thai chicken curry far too much. Not to mention you have to have a lot of these plants because these beans take months to cultivate. But hey, if you're a talking cat with the potential to be immortal, I think you're fine. Padula also traces the concept of the SENZU bean back to Taoism, a practice which is very similar to a hermit, but with more positive reasoning. The search of inner peace and immortality. There are 2 ways to achieve this. You can either achieve this through physical exercises and meditation, like Master Roshi, or you can achieve it via alchemy, like Corin, through the discovery of secret elixirs and pills to help you on your quest. Sounds cool, actually. You can either achieve it via power or brains. To those who consume them, they are bestowed with magical and spiritual properties. The master then seeds these ideas into his students. Therefore, the practice is immortalized. The idea of Toriyama to literally turn these elixirs and pills into beans and seeds is genius. It just adds to his ideas of using food puns and references in Dragon Ball. It's great. I'm no Gaijin Goomba, but I find this stuff fascinating. But what I find even more fascinating is if you took these beans out of the Dragon Ball equation. Without these lima bean-like food pellets, Korin's Taoism practices would have been vastly different. Sure, he can fall back on the other component of his training, Bigu, which is literally avoiding grains or having a very low-calorie diet, but it could have had an impact on his lifespan, which is estimated to be around 800 years or so. And I'm not talking cat years, I'm talking human years. Even if he were there or not, Goku would have had nothing to eat. The first time we hear about the SENZU beans is when Goku needs a quick snack during the Commander Red saga of Dragon Ball. If we didn't have those beans, then Goku would have just had to wait and find food elsewhere for a couple of days. It might have changed the history of Dragon Ball quite significantly. That's not really exciting. Goku would have just had to wait for his meals just like everyone else. That's boring. Okay, let's get to the really good stuff. What about after his first fight with King Piccolo? Yeah, that was bad. Goku was caned heavily in that one. Without the SENZU beans, Goku would have been lucky to have survived. Through some miracle, if he was able to convince Yajirobe to take him up to Korin's tower, and then to drink the ultra divine water there and then, probably out of desperation, Goku would have most certainly died, as his strength reserves would have been tapped out, because with the ultra divine water, you have to possess a modicum of strength, or else you will die and not get a power boost. There is definitely something in the water. So yeah, if Goku died, King Piccolo would have had no one to oppose him. He could have just taken over the world government without much resistance whatsoever. And if Goku hadn't been able to convince Yajirobe to take him up the tower, he would have had to heal naturally, and that could have taken months, possibly a year. And who's to say that King Piccolo wouldn't have used that time to pick him off, as well as Korin and Kame, leaving him unopposed? Oh, use the Dragon Balls to wish Goku back to health? No. After King Piccolo wished for his youth back, he destroyed Shenron and the Dragon Balls, so no one could use them against him. So yeah, you're pretty screwed. Dragon Ball as we know it would have been over at episode 112 when King Piccolo regained his youth. That is until Raditz shows up! Yeah, just because King Piccolo took over Earth doesn't mean Raditz wouldn't have still come to that planet looking for his brother. Raditz arrives on Earth 8 years after Goku is killed by King Piccolo. His power level would have been far greater than King Piccolo's. Even if the king were to drink the Ultra Divine Water, how he managed to get that somehow, I don't know. Even if he had that power boost, he would have still been weaker than Raditz. Yeah, that kind of sounds weird. Once the Saiyan found King Piccolo, he probably would have found out that his younger brother was slain by the monster. Unaware of the fact that Goku hit his head as a child and then became innocent, Raditz would have assumed that King Piccolo got in the way of Goku's conquering of Earth. He would have been angry, he would have been mad, he would have been livid about the fact that not only did Goku fail, but also his brother was dead. Yeah, Raditz would have promptly destroyed King Piccolo and his followers in a fit of rage. Raditz would have gone on to conquer the planet in the name of Lord Frieza and his fallen sibling. If Piccolo killed Kami and Korin, there would be no Earth Dragon Balls to fall back on. The planet would just become another settlement of Lord Frieza. So much for King Piccolo then. So there we have it. Without those magic beans, Earth would have just become a nameless planet in Lord Frieza's empire, and Raditz would have probably been our governor. Wow, that just sounds wrong. So what did you guys think of my little theory? Good, bad, needs some work? Do you have your own theory? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, guys. Catch you later.